Week 6 of NFL football action. We are super excited. We had some drama this week happening, coaches getting
Yeah, we did.
fired, good games all around. It was a good time. It was a good time. I drank too much at a local bar. Uh, really regretted that. Solid 2-day hangover on Monday and Tuesday.
Made some side cash.
Yeah, rough. I did. I was betting a Jamaican man at a bar. I kind of feel bad. I don't feel like he knew that much about football, but he kept wanting to bet me. So we did. And I made some money off him. Hey, we had a good
It
time.
don't matter how you get it.
Yeah, exactly. We had a good time. All right, though. Let's get going. I think we can dive right into this episode with some game picks, because then we will get to our player props, which we have been loving. Our player props. We do think we have some good game picks for you this week, though. Mike, why don't you kick us off with the Bengals and the Giants?
Yeah, give me the Bengals minus 2.5 at the Giants. You can get it at minus 138. The Giants finally looked pretty serviceable last week. Tyrone Tracy kind of stepped up and really filled in for Devin Singletary and said, "Hey, I'm the new back here." But the Seahawks have a lot of injuries on their defense, and I think that is the story of why that happened. Now you've got the Bengals who recognize that they're kind of in a do or die moment this early in the season.
Yep.
We kind of expect this from them every year, but what we don't expect them to do is lose to the Ravens in overtime like they did last week. When, like, let's be honest, they kind of won that game. In my opinion, I can say that since Steve isn't here. So like minus 2.5 at debatably one of the weaker teams in the NFL in a do or die moment that you have to win. I think Joe Burrow steps up and keeps this offense rolling. And I love this one a lot.
Yeah, they might. Man, I feel like we should give up on the Bengals. I don't know what their season looks like. However, you just see the way they've lost games, and you're like, they're a better team than that. And the Giants are not a better team than what
No.
they're not getting any better. So someone had to fade the Giants on this show, and you took that mantle over for me, which I appreciate, because I actually wasn't going to make that pick.
I noticed we don't have any. You didn't have any fade the Giants, and neither one of us were fading Caleb Williams this week. Finally,
No, I don't even have like a. Yeah, I don't even have like a Daniel Jones interception or anything like that. Cool. I'm going to take the Commanders against the Ravens. I'm not really sure what's going on with this spread, if I'm going to be honest. Like, the Commanders, I think, have only proven that they're one of the better teams in football, and I think will easily win the NFC East. I'm not sure where the Eagles and Cowboys are going to compete with the level that Jaden Daniels is playing at. It's absolutely crazy to me. I'm just not sure what I'm missing here. Like, the standard favorite line at home for a team would be 2.5. And so they're giving the Ravens almost an entire touchdown. Like, I just don't see it. I'm going to take the Commanders plus 6.5. They've been playing so well. This is actually a regional rivalry that I don't think people like think of that much, but it does matter. Like, in the region, I spent a little time in the area, not a ton. And yeah, Commanders Ravens, man, this is a little regional rivalry. They're not in the same conference. Like, they're just down the road from each other. So give me those Commanders to cover 6.5. Maybe the Ravens win and keep rolling. I think that's fine. But man, that's a big spread for two teams that have been playing really well.
Yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, the only thing that I can think of the more I think through this game is just the fact that Jaden Daniels is still a rookie.
Yeah,
and
could have a bum game.
Yeah, and like this is going to be his biggest game of his career by far. And so maybe there's something there. You know, it's his first like big superstar game against his while they're in their prime. I mean, you can say Joe Burrow, but that was early for the Bengals, and we know how that's not a real football team yet. So
yeah,
their schedule hasn't been very tough to this point, but it's also kind of hard to use that argument in the NFL like you can in college, because everybody is just marginally better or marginally worse. So I don't fully get it. I love this play a lot.
Yeah, awesome. All right, I want to hear more about Nico Collins goes on the IR. We love Nico Collins. Like, this is a Nico Collins love fest show. He's out. You still like the Texans. Tell us about it, though.
My heart still hurts that we lost our prop bet last week by half a
It's our
yard because he
boy.
got injured in the second quarter on his second catch of the day, but that's okay. My next two picks are honestly, I'm just betting against rookie quarterbacks, and it's that
Okay.
simple.
Yep.
Drake May has been announced the starter for the Patriots behind a questionable offensive line. And the defensive line for the Texans, you've got Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson there. And so I think they cause havoc against Drake May in his first game. And I think they pull off a win of a touchdown pretty easily here. The hello,
Yeah,
dog.
we got dog visitors.
I think with this though, I think a little side prop bet that you can look at here are receptions to the running backs with and Antonio Gibson and Ramondre Stevenson for the Pats because we've seen time and time again that rookie quarterbacks love throwing the ball to their running backs as they're getting started. We saw that with
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, and he targeted Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler like 8 times a game, and it's progressively gotten less and less each game the more and more comfortable he gets. So I think you can do it here. I think you can do it with the Saints with Kamara. So a little side option there. But for now, yeah, I like the Texans minus 6.5 just with a strong defensive line versus a rookie quarterback.
Well, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, why don't you just give us your last game pick here? You have with the Saints, and yeah, I'm a big Spencer Rattler hater for some reason, so I probably already love this pick.
Yeah. Bucks minus 2.5 at the Saints. I get they're at the Saints, and I get that the Saints showed some heat the first 2 games, but they've kind of, sputtered quite a bit since then. And now you lose Derek Carr to his oblique injury. So the Bucks on the other side, said it 2 weeks ago when they played the Falcons. In the last year and a half now, they have been within one score of every division game they've played in the NFC
Wow.
South. And so I think that's easy to kind of bring into the argument, even when they have Derek Carr, and then you lose Derek Carr and they've only got to win by a field goal. I think this is another one that hits pretty easy. And also fire up Alvin Kamara, man. I think Rattler's just going to be targeting him down the whole game. They didn't have
Yeah.
receptions for these 2 games out whenever we were preparing the show, so I don't have any props on them yet, but I
So
will
pretty much
definitely be
we're
making a
gonna
comeback.
bet the over receptions on Kamara though. Like
Oh, no question. No question.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right. Last game pick, and then we'll get into some player props. Give me the Bills minus 2.5 at the Jets. I'm just a big Jets hater. Fade the Jets. They fired their coach. Look, they're handing the offense. You think they're handing it to Nathaniel Hackett? Absolutely not. They're giving Aaron Rodgers has been running this offense since the first week, and they've looked like absolute garbage. And they're handing it to another defense. They're handing it to the defensive coordinator. So they're taking it from a defensive head coach, handing it to a defensive coordinator, and telling me the offense is going to get better. Like crazy to me. That sounds crazy to me. The Bills have looked great. Josh Allen is having, he's the year after his Madden curse. So he is like strong, right? Like Josh Allen's looking good. I just don't see the Bills and Jets being comparable teams this year, and I will happily take the Bills by that 2.5 in New York. It kind of seems like a bet Vegas wants me to take, so maybe I'm a little nervous about it. But I still am going to take it because I can't possibly bet on the Jets to do anything positive right now, which I actually love, if we're being honest. Like I don't really, no one really like cares that much about the Jets. All right,
Yeah, let's be
let's.
honest. I like it. My only concern here is the last 2 weeks, the Bills have been questionable. They've combined 30
Yep.
points against the Ravens and the Texans, and they still probably won't have Shakir from what I'm seeing. Um, and we've seen it happen a couple times where there's a head coach change and all of a sudden the locker room decides they want to play football again.
Yeah.
For that reason, I'm staying away from it, but there's no question to me that the Bills are not the better team or
Yeah.
that they are the better team. So if they can just show up and do their thing, this should not be a problem.
Well, I think it's super. Should be an interesting game, a New York rivalry going on. We got a couple regional rivalries going on, and conference rivalries happening this weekend as well. So, all right, let's talk about NFL player props. I got a few for us. I'll go through and then I'll hand it over to you. Give me Stephon Diggs over 65.5 receiving yards. We talked about Nico Collins being out. We still like the Texans. Obviously, he now becomes their solid number one receiver. So 65.5 receiving yards. I would take him for an anytime touchdown as well. I believe it was listed at something crazy. The juice was not good on the anytime touchdown. So give me a 65.5 receiving yards.
I love that. We saw him go over 80 yards after Nico Collins went out last week, so this feels pretty easy.
Yeah, he's still good. We haven't been talking shit about Diggs. We've just been thinking that Nico's better, which is true, for sure. Cool. Then give me Jaden Daniels over 225.5 passing yards. Baltimore gives up the second most passing yards than any other team. 280 yards a game. 280 a game.
Things you don't like to say about a Baltimore defense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. It was odd. Like when I went to go look up like bottom, pass defenses, I was very surprised to see Baltimore's name right there. And Jaden Daniels has been lighting. I text you guys, I think it was like this running throw across his body. I was like, and he just hits this guy.
It was the dime to Terry where he got stopped for the goal line.
And I was just like, it was the most athletic throw I've like ever seen in my life. And 225 felt like a low number to me, so I'm gonna take that. And then I'm going back to the well with your guy Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown. Not just because they're playing the Panthers, but yes, because they're playing the Panthers. And also, he kind of disappointed last week for all of us in fantasy, so I feel like he's got to bounce back. And Carolina gives up more rushing touchdowns per game than anyone else. They almost give up 2 rushing touchdowns a game. They're really close. Which is all that should be my boy Bijan just getting those rushing TDs this week. So give me an anytime at minus 140 there.
I like it. My only concern there is his snap percentage has gone down every single week since week
ridiculous.
1. Like last week, it was like 62% down from like 91% from week 1. So
they got to get him
what's going on there.
It's like Arthur Smith is back or something.
Yeah, and
hated him.
There's been comments of him just not doing the right things when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, or only looking for the big plays and not looking for the small intermediate stuff in between. But I'm like, dude, I don't care. He's clearly far more talented than Algier. Give the ball to your most talented player. It's that simple.
100%. 100%. All right. So you're talking to us about 49ers, though. We still got Christian McCaffrey up on this graphic. We need to swap this one out for Jordan.
Probably should change him out for this year. This hit last week. I'm taking it again this week. Jordan Mason over 82.5 yards. He's hit this in every game this year except for one. And last week we said start the Niners. So you do that, or the Niners running backs, and you continue to do that, especially when they get to play the Seahawks, who just got torched by Tyrone Tracy last week with their defensive injuries. So they gave up. We'll stop there. That's great. Jordan Mason over 82.5 at minus 110.
Have you noted that since I called the Seahawks the worst 3-0 team in the NFL, that they're 0-2? Except I think you guys had the Steelers too, and they're also 0-2.
They're also 0-2.
So it's a real competition right now between who started the season the best and who's actually the worst team between those two.
I'm still taking the Steelers in that argument. I think Justin Fields.
Find out.
I feel for him. I think he got ruined in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a lot more talent in the bag. I don't think they're going to pull it out of him in Pittsburgh. And I think Russell's going to be starting there soon, which I hate to say that so much, but I think it's happening.
Yep.
Moving on. I'm taking CJ Stroud over 225 yards, along with your Stephon Diggs over 65 yards. He's hit this in 12 out of 17 games last year. And this year he's only missed it once, and he missed it last week by a single yard. So now they're playing the Pats, who have given up 3 of 5 times this year. And they're playing against Drake May. And I think they're going to have the ball in their hands a lot more than they usually do. And so I think getting over 225 is pretty daggone easy, at minus 155.
I would just like to know, we don't coordinate these picks very much. And the
Not
fact
even
that your last couple picks, you have a couple picks that like I have the quarterback and like a receiver, and then you have the opposite quarterback and a receiver. So they pretty much are just like coinciding in a great way. I also like your running back pick here, though. I interrupted you.
No, you're good. We got that DFS stat going on. Give me Gibbs, Jahmyr Gibbs over 58.5 yards at -110. He's hit this in the last three straight. He didn't hit it week 1, but week 1 he was also coming off of that preseason hamstring injury, and since then he's just getting fed the ball more and more every week. His touches are going up every week. Now he gets to play Dallas, who has struggled against the run all year, especially on the left side of their line. It's kind of funny when you look at the statistics there, but he's averaging over 5 yards a carry, and so he only has to get 11 touches with that number. I think that is easy money there at 58.5. And then my final one is Scary Terry McLaurin over 55.5 yards at -110. You've got to hunt to get it at 55.5. The only place I could find it there was at Bet365. It's around 60 to 65.5 everywhere else.
Wow, that's a big difference.
I know, I was surprised, but I'll still take it there, to be honest. For the first time in his career, he's getting a 25% target share and averaging 8 targets a game. And that's been his whole thing since he's been there. He's got all the talent in the world, but he's never had somebody to get him the ball, and he's finally getting somebody to get him the ball. Jaden Daniels is getting better and better every single week. I think we've talked about him on the show every week since like week 2.
Yep.
Terry's last 3 games have been 100, 52, and 112. And now, as you said with Jaden Daniels earlier, now he gets Baltimore. Both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase went over 65 last week. Shakir hit it the week before. Dallas had 2 players hit it. Even the Raiders had 2 players hit it.
Jeez.
So when you say the Raiders hit it, it's like, all right, this feels pretty good. So
pre-Devontae Adams injury, though, I would assume.
Pre-Devontae Adams injury, but it was him and Brock Bowers. So
yep.
But yeah, man, it's last week he missed the touchdown by a foot. Other than that, he scored in 3 straight weeks, and you can get him at plus money on an anytime touchdown, which is also intriguing.
Oh, absolutely.
But for now, give me Terry over 55.5 at -110.
Love it. Love the Commanders this week. Sorry, Stefan. I at least love this game. I'm not sure if we love them to win, but we love this game. This matchup should be a real fun one.
That's what he gets for not being here.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we see where your loyalty stands, Stefan. All right. You made it to the rundown. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X, and wherever you get your podcasts. We are going to run through these show picks real quick for you. Mike, why don't you kick us off with your game picks?
Yeah, I've got the Bengals -2.5 at the Giants at -138. Texans -6.5 at the Patriots -121, and the Bucks -2.5 at the Saints at -140.
Yeah, give me the Commanders +6.5. And then that's against the Ravens. Give me the Bills -2.5 against the Jets. I'll keep us rolling into player props. I got Stephon Diggs over 65.5 receiving yards, Jaden Daniels over 225.5 passing yards, and Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown.
I love it. Give me Jordan Mason over 82.5 rush yards, CJ Stroud over 225 passing yards, Jahmyr Gibbs over 58.5 rush yards, and Terry McLaurin over 55.5 receiving yards.
Sweet. That is it. That's how we're going to make money this week. Go check out the College Football Show. We have a bunch of picks over there. Should be a fun football weekend, and we will see y'all next week.
Deuces.